All right, so the next query that we're going to build is going to be all books. We need to show all books published after July of 2010. So let's see which table will give us that information. Let's open the books. So we have the title, which we're probably going to use, and we have the pub date. So we need to find the we need to filter all the books that were published after July of 2010. Let's close this one and let's start a new query. All right, so let's do title ID, title, type, and pub date. So within the pub date, we need to specify that criteria. And what we're going to specify is after July. So July 31st being the last day of July, we need everything that was done, that was published after that. Now, here's a quick note about dates in Excel. I get weird messages from my Excel for some reason. Okay. So July 1st, right? So we can indicate that as a date type. And let's just go all the way to the last day of July. All right. Let's extend a little bit. And so if we would want to show it as a number, as a numeric type, which is how Access is reading it, we can just format it as a number. And then you see that basically July 1st, 2010 was a 40,360th day since Access started counting days. I think it was sometime in the mid 90s when it was created. And so on and so forth. So the next day will be 40,361. July 3rd is 40,362, and so on and so forth. Do we need to convert it to numeric types necessarily? Not really, not necessarily. So instead, so again, the criteria was all books published. So we need to indicate after July of 2010. So anything more than July 31st, 2010, but not just date by itself. We need to put hashtags before and after. And let's save it. Use 7 books published after July 2010. And let's give it a run. And we have 3 books that were published after July of 2010. Great. Next one, all books published in June of 2010. So let's just, I think we can just modify, because the criteria for the data is mostly the same, it's just the filter is different. So let's save the existing query as a new query. And let's get rid of this copy part. In June. Okay, so how do we indicate the June, the entire month of June? So instead of doing this, so in month of June would be essentially June 1st through June 30th, I believe. So what we're going to do, we're going to indicate those 2 dates. We're going to put between June 1st, 2010 and June 30th, 2010. But not only that, we're going to include hashtags. We're going to include those dates inside the hashtags. So Access would read them. Save it and run it. And there we go. We got 2 books that were published in June of 2008, and they were both published on June 28th. Right? Okay, let's close this one. And the next is all employees hired in the year 2000, last name and hire date. Okay, so we know that we can't find that information from the books table, so let's see where would that information be. Employees table sounds like what might help us, so we're gonna open it up. So we have, so the criteria was last name and hire date. There we go, last name, hire date. So we need to know, so what we need to know is that this is employees table that we're gonna be using, and when we create a query, we're gonna import that table. All right, so the requirement was to show the last name and hire date. And for the hire date, the criteria was in the year 2000, so throughout the entire year. How do we indicate the whole year? So again, just like in the previous example where we indicated throughout the whole month, we can just switch it to, notch it up a little bit and indicate the entire year, which would be January 1st, 2000. And by the way, I think we better save it. Okay, year 7, employees hired in 2000. Something that it doesn't like. It didn't, I didn't finish the expression yet. Okay, so between January 1st and December 31st, 2000. And again, I'm including those inside the hashtags. Let's run it. There we go. Those are the employees that were hired in the year 2000. Next one is salary for all authors in alphanumeric order. Use the full name. So authors. Let's see, book authors or authors. Those are probably two tables that will have the information that I need. Let's start with the authors. So it has the last name, and I also need to show the salary, right? Salary for all other authors, full name. So full name would be first name, last name. It has that. Also the salary. So I need the authors table. So I'm going to create using authors table. All right, so first name, last name, salary. And the easy part of this query is that I really don't need to indicate anything more. There's no filtering criteria. I need to show for all authors. The keyword here is all. Right, so no filtering criteria specified, and I'm going to save it before I run it. All author salaries. Okay, those are all author salaries. Great. Next one is all publishers that are not in the United States. Publishers. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is the table that we need. So it has the publisher name and has the country, which has some foreign countries as well. So we can get results out of it. So again, we're going to create the query design, and we're going to use the publishers table. Now we're going to use the publisher name and the country. And in the country, criteria will be not USA. I hope it says USA there. Not United States. Yeah, USA. Let's save it as U7. Oops. Publishers not or non-US publishers. Okay, let's run it, and I have the criteria filter down. Excellent. So we're on our way to the last query. And the last query is all publishers that are located in New York and Boston. So let's look at it again. Do I have information about cities? Yes, I do. Okay, so we're going to keep using that table, publishers, publisher name, but this time I want to use city. And the criteria is that it is New York or Boston. Let's save that. Use 7 publishers in New York or Boston. Let's run it, and there we go. We got 2 publishers in New York, 1 in New York and 1 in Boston. All right, so quick note on the homework. Make sure that when you're creating your, your submission document, right? I don't need the entire, I need you to do, to paste a couple of, 2 pieces of information. One would be the snapshot of the results, and I need a partial. Don't be copying the entire result set into the Word document. It's enough if you'll just take a little snippet of your results with column names and first 10 or less results, right? Above it, I want you to paste your SQL query that was generated, and you can get it by clicking in the right lower corner SQL view query, and it'll have it here. It'll be automatically generated as you build it in the view, in the visual graphical user interface. So, you can technically take a screenshot of this, but I would prefer you just to copy it as a text and paste it inside the Word document, above your results, above your results snippet. Okay, that's all I had. Thanks for viewing this video, and I will see you next week.